Today I'm going to show you how to wire this Motorize Boba Fett helmet. Stay tuned. If you can see, I took some of this out right here just to make sure that I have enough space for the switch. That switch is going to go in there, and the theory here is that whenever the laser rangefinder comes down, it hits that clicker switch and it stops. So that's what we're going for here. So now we got to make sure that it does fit in there. It is actually nice and flush with the back side. So next thing we got to do is make sure that we put a hole right here on the actual helmet. I put this hole right here so we can go ahead and throw the wires through there. So the goal here is to actually get a hole on the helmet right where this is going to be. So right there, we'll go ahead and mark it, and then we'll make a hole to fit the wires. It's only 2 wires going through here, and they're pretty small. So I think that right there is more than enough space to get those 2 wires. I am still contemplating if I want to put an LED light at the end of the rangefinder, just to see if, if when it comes down, it turns on, and then when you turn it back off, it'll go up and it turns off. I'll still have to see how I'm gonna wire all that up, and when I get to that, then we'll cross that bridge. But for now, we got this piece right here, which I kind of made some adjustments to this one, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I get it lined up with the with this hole right here, just to make sure that it's nice and lined up. All right, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we line this up. Go through the inside of this. This is really only to line it up, because through here is gonna go the servo that is going to make the rangefinder move. And here we have it lined up right where we want it. And we'll go ahead and throw some marks in here. We have that on there. Mark it even better. And then we'll go ahead and grab a drill bit to get it through there. All right, so I have a 3/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to go ahead and drill right in there. Okay, so it took me a little while because I'm not trying to push too hard, or I wasn't trying to get it too hot, because then I don't want the helmet warping or anything like that with the heat. So I took it easy on it. I'm gonna remove this from the inside. And now we have the hole that where the wires are gonna go through. Now the next thing that we gotta think about is our servo. I don't want my servo completely inside. And so what I want is for this servo to be on the outside. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure this and then transfer it over to the helmet and then try to get it lined up to where it needs to go. This is a different type of servo. This is a MG996. It's a little beefier. What I'm hoping to do with this is that it has enough power to lower it and lift it back up without having any kind of support or anything to help it out. And then that is gonna go in here. So what I really wanna do is make this hole big enough so it'll fit. It'll fit that whole piece right here. Or maybe at least this right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and use my caliper. That's 13 millimeters. All right, so after looking at it for a little bit, this is what I came up with. I'm gonna have it set up right there on the outside, and then this right here, this is going to be sandwiched between the helmet and the plate. So this right here, I'm gonna have to cut in the helmet just to give it space to put it from the inside, put it up to there, and then this will go on top. All right, so next step is to measure. Box right here, which is 39 and a half, 39.5. Millimeters by 19.5 or 19.25. So we'll have to go right here. Now this I want to make sure I get right because this is the actual helmet. I ain't going to be building a new helmet. So I said 19.25. 19.25. And we said it was 39.5 millimeters. All right. So what I'm gonna do here, this is too big. I want to make sure. Okay. Again, not going too hard. I need to charge this battery. So frankly, Bill has a really good video on how to do this. So I'll post his video at the bottom. I'm not gonna do a video on that because his is really good, and he explains it very good. So I use his method with the dual relay as well. So again, hot wired servo, big enough hole. I make sure that I had a space right here for my wires that need to go into the switch, to the contact switch. So I need to get the other wire that goes through here before I put the servo in. It's just easier that way. So I'll throw these wires, give some space, and throw the wires up there. Make sure that these ones are to the side, then kind of get it to go in there. Make sure I hold these out of the way. Actually, I'm just going to take this white one out. I'll keep the blue one in there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just wiggle it in there. All right. And then these servos, they come with little screws to position them. So I'll go ahead, screwdriver. Try not to use a drill to put these screws in there, because if you do, you might mess up the helmet and then you won't have anywhere to screw it into. Just be patient with it. I'm only gonna worry about the top ones. I'm not really gonna worry about the bottom ones. So we'll get that. Get the white wire back through the hole. Then we'll go ahead and solder this right here. Making a nice connection. We'll work on that in a little bit. Now this piece right here, I remixed the piece that came with the whole set of the rangefinder with the wire and everything. I'll go ahead and put this piece, because this is the only piece that I actually remixed on Thingiverse, and I'll put the link in the description so you guys can get this one if you're doing this exact same servo, or at least this size servo. So what we'll do is put it here, just kind of slide it on there. I still got to paint it, of course. So if you look at it, that's how it sets on there. And it's gonna cover the whole thing. I made it thick enough so you can still have the arm on there and it'll still move. And then this is gonna serve as where the switch, the limit switch, is gonna be at as well, for the arm to hit it, but we'll get to that later. So I'll go ahead and start prepping this for paint, and I'll see you in a little bit. If you want to see how I prep things for painting, then I'll post one of my videos here. This was prepping this helmet for painting. So just click on it and you'll see it. Okay, so we got everything wired like the schematic that I talked about. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that this one all the way in was kind of popping out. Go ahead and line up the servo. Now, when you're doing this, you gotta make sure you keep an eye out on which way the servo is moving when you're clicking it, because if it's moving the opposite way, because what we want is the servo to be completely up on the way up. On the way down is gonna have the limit switch, so that's gonna stop it from continue to move. But on the other side, I don't want to put a limit switch on the other side as well when it's going up. So what I want is for my servo to completely go up this way. And then when it comes down, it hits the switch. So again, goes up and stays there full. So what we want to do is make sure that it is turning the right way. So we'll put the red wire on one side of the dual relay. We'll do the orange. If you're using orange, the same colors, after you hot wire this, you can use the same two colors, orange and red, or you can choose, you know, the brown and red, whichever you want. We just gotta make sure that you got them the correct way. So we'll go ahead and test it. Wires. Okay. So which way is my servo gonna move? Once I get the switch, okay, it's not moving. So I want to see where the shortage is going on. I know where it is. It's right here. To make sure we got this hooked up. All right, so let me unhook this, slice this wire. I want a little bit more wire, exposed wire here. So I can work with it. Lift this up a little bit. There we go. And we're gonna put this in here. Give it a twist. Don't worry about the twist just yet. You just wanted to make contact. We're just trying it. We got power. My switch right here. Perfect. So as you can see, it's going up that way backwards, and it's going forward this way. And when I hit the switch, that's when you want it to stop. You want it to stop when it's rotating clockwise, okay, as you're looking at the helmet. So up, the rangefinder's up, going this way counterclockwise. When you hit it, it's going to go clockwise, and then that makes the rangefinder come down. You're going to come down, hit my switch, and then you're going to hit it back, and then it's going to go up. So everything is wired correctly. So that's important part right there. We're good with this. Now we're gonna have to work with cable management in here. See how we're gonna wrap all this up together and make sure that we don't have like too much wire, or just, you know, organize it better than what it is. So I'll probably have this switch right here, my dual relay, put it right here where there is some space, and then I'll have the wire for the battery coming this way, and then I'll hook that up. I have to come up with some kind of way to get this all set up. So what you can do is use some hot glue to just position it somewhere where you think you might want it, and then try it on, make sure it works with your head, and then if it works there, then you can use like a more permanent glue to keep it on there, or you can just put some more hot glue on it just to make sure that it stays on there. Hot glue is pretty good, and as long as you don't have anything that is, you know, melting that hot glue. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that all these wires are up against the helmet and better organized. So I'll get to that in a while. So let's try it, see where we're going to put that on there. Let me heat up. Where do I want? I want a big blob right there. I want a big blob right here, so it'll hold. Okay, so maybe I like it there, but let's try a different spot right now. Maybe I can put it down here. Let's try this right here. This switch is going to end up being right here. Be right there, kind of out of sight. So we can go ahead and put that there. Okay. I'll try it on, see what happens. Yeah, so much better there. Don't feel it. There's a little bit of weight going towards that side, but I'm gonna counterbalance that with the battery pack that I'll be using. You know, it'd be one of these two. All right. Okay. So now this battery pack is gonna end up being somewhere on this side. Probably gonna have to do like something like that. Kind of like this. Work the wires up this way. Then back down. So let's try it out real quick. Little bit of glue right here. See if it holds. Okay. It's holding. I'll try it on. All right, so I couldn't even get my head in right now, so we'll move this back a little bit more. So I was having an issue earlier today that having the servos connected, when they were in the up position, it was getting like overheated. The servos were getting really hot. So what I ended up doing, I'm not worried about the down position, because on the down position I have the switch, the limit switch, that is going to shut it off, and it's not going to be drawing any power. That means it's not going to get hot. But in the up and store position, it's going to continue to draw. The way I got it set up right now, it's going to continue to draw power, and then that is going to make the servo get extra hot. So thought about it for a while. I didn't want to put another limit switch on the up position, because that means I will have to redo this whole piece, and I really don't want to. I think I got it pretty nicely set up, and I don't want to deal with putting another servo there. So what I'm gonna end up doing is these switches, these thumb switches on it. So I'll have two switches right here. Will be one to work the up and down motion, and then the other one is once we are in the up position, I'll go ahead and cut that off. That meaning it won't get any power to it. Okay. So so let me go ahead and wire this up, and then we should be good to go to start putting all the servos in there and all this other stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire all this up, and I'll make sure that I during the wiring procedure, I make sure that I point that out once I get to that part. All right, so I got my two signal ones. My blue one is going to that limit switch, and then it's coming back down to the to my switch. So what I gotta do is split this one in half and then put one in the limit switch and the other one on this, not the limit switch, I'm sorry. Keep one in this toggle on off and then put the other one on this one. But I'm gonna have to do that with both, with my power one going into here and then my my limit switch going into that one. It's pretty much just like a turn on and off switch for the whole system. See how the light came off? That means no, it shouldn't be any power going into my my servo. So I just gotta make sure that when I put my laser finder up, I shut off this switch as well. So both of the switches need to be shut off. And then in the front, when the servo is going down, it's gonna go back down to the preset. Turn this on, turn this on. Oh. And then it hits my servo. I mean, not my servo, my limit switch. So it's gonna go up. It's gonna be turned off. It's gonna go forward. Limit switch shuts it off. Then back. Back. And then off. So on, so stops, back, back, done. Now the other part to this is that when it comes down, when the rangefinder comes down, there's two lights. So I'm gonna channel a wire through here to get those two lights. Now, what that is gonna work out, and I talked about this in the wiring diagram, is that once this hits down, my middle and my constant, which is my blue one right here, not constant, is my ground, these two are going to be touching. So when it hits down, my light ground is gonna be right here. So when it hits down, these two are gonna come on, and that light is gonna go ahead and turn on, or those lights. So next thing I need to do is to make sure that I throw a line for my LED from here. So I gotta do a couple of things here. One, I'm gonna solder this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this a little bit shorter so it helps me with the wire management inside the helmet. That's what I did not want. There we go. We got this. Might cut that off as well. We'll see. I want to test this out. Test my theory out. So I'm gonna go ahead. Put my ground on the outside. And I'm gonna go ahead, put this one in here. The ground that is going into the switch. And if what I'm thinking is correct, we should be able to I need to turn them both on. What is happening? So I got two of them already soldered on there with some heat shrink tubing. Alrighty. So we got all three of these. And this one's gonna go up to the light. It's the negative for the light. One's the one that is on when I throw this switch. Okay, this is the right one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw a positive from here, or number 2, to this light. So see if we can get those two. One tiny bit. I didn't really catch that very well. Go ahead and spread it out a little bit. Oh, popped off. All right, so technically, and in theory, I know I need to put, I think it's a 150 ohms resistor on this light. That's coming. All right, so I went ahead and got all this all set up. I'm painting right now the piece that goes around the whole mechanism servo, and that's where this kill switch is gonna be at. So when the rangefinder comes down and hits this, it'll stop. On the inside, I went ahead and started doing some wiring management. So I got 2 switches, and then we have the dual relay board. We have the wires to the motor, and the wires going up here, and you'll see what those wires are for right now in a little bit. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and shrink this with some heat. I got a little resistor there, so I'm not burning stuff in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat that up, make it small, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw this wire. I'll probably set it up here since it's a little longer than the other ones, and then just use some hot glue to manage it down here. I'll put some more right here as well, and this all should be good to go over here. So you can do this from a distance. This heat shrink tubing is pretty small, even if you're from a distance. Just want to make sure that you don't burn anything else in there. You can also do this with a hair dryer or a heat gun. I don't have a hair dryer down here. Whoop. Now make sure you don't do that. Just keep that heat far away from it and moving if you're doing it with this. You can do pretty good with those with this type of gun, this hot glue gun, to put stuff on the inside of your helmet. If it doesn't have a lot of torque, like this switch right here, I'm not gonna do with hot glue because it's gonna have something pushing on it constantly. So I don't want to put hot glue on it. With time, it'll wear off or whatever. So I end up doing some CA glue, and maybe some either it's gonna be at the bottom, it's gonna be some CA glue, and then on the top I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this Gorilla Glue that I have there. So we'll go ahead and route this, get some wire management stuff in here, get it out of the way so it doesn't get tangled with my head when I put it on and off. And then I decided that I'm just gonna keep this long, and I'm gonna end up putting the battery pack in the back of my suit. I have the back. I'm working on it right now. So I have the back right here. I'll probably end up putting it somewhere in here. Put a bracket for my battery, and it'll go right there. Probably right here, straight down. And then it'll be right there, and I'll cover that up with some kind of neck piece with the suit. This should be pretty hot. We'll go ahead and throw some hot glue. And just throw a little blob of glue on there. Try not to touch it while it's drying. Just hold the cables down, let it do its thing. When it's a little bit, it's not hot, but just a little bit warm, you can go ahead and push it in. If you do it before it's just warm, it'll just stick to your finger. So while it's hot, just try to keep your fingers away from it. When it starts getting a little wider instead of clear, that's when you can push down on it and make sure it gets a good bonding. All right, so we'll push down on that. So I'm gonna throw this up here. I'm gonna try to get these two wires together in there. Another servo wire it's already on there. Let it dry up. So I'm gonna push down with my finger and put a blob right there. And just kind of work it in there with your finger. So the next thing we need to do, I'm gonna use the one that I had from before. It's already painted. I don't have to deal with painting it or anything. It's easy to take off and put on. So, and this is where I'm gonna hide some of the wires. And now we just wait for the little cover on here to dry out. All right, so this is all nice and dry now. So we'll go ahead and slide it on there. And then I think I'm gonna throw some glue on it before. We'll put it at the bottom. And as it's sliding down, it'll move up. We'll go about halfway, put a little bit here, and down here. Should we get the cables through? A little slot for the cables. Push it in. Put some tape on it. And then we'll go ahead and let it dry out. All right, so we let it dry for a little bit. Now we're gonna go ahead and put in the limit switch. Now, I want to use the hot glue for the limit switch until I get it dialed in correctly. Once it's dialed in where I want it, Then I go ahead and use a more permanent glue, like a CA glue or Gorilla Glue. I want it to be level with your eye when it comes in. So I think that if we get it like that, that it is going to be there where I need it to be. So we'll put some hot glue on it. A little bit, not a lot. During the test runs, if I put it in a little bit of an angle, it was working better. So we'll go ahead and put it on that angle right there. So let's do another test run. Here we go. All right. So that's exactly where I want it. So now what I gotta do is get some glue on there. All right, so we'll go with Gorilla Glue CA. There isn't very much left on here. So we'll go, this is what we'll do. We'll throw some hot glue in the back, Gorilla Glue in the front. We'll put it in place. Make sure it's in the spot that we want it. Right there. Got a little spacer. I'm gonna put it right there. And this is gonna go on top. Then what I'll do is I'll figure out, after I get that, I'll figure out this front, so I'm not worried about painting this. Figure out this space right here, and then I'll paint that the gold color again, then cover that up. I got the last piece printed out. I got it, primed and painted. So we're just gonna go ahead and put that piece right here just to cover everything in there. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and give it a try. Go ahead and just some tape on it.